welcome back to the Speculative Podcast. I'm Joe, and I'm here with James. Today we're going to be covering the rest of Leviathan Wakes, so the final part of the book. So James, it begins with them discovering that ship and then returning back to Tycho Station to tell Fred what they found. How do you feel about what they found?
The only thing that stands out to me is cutting off the ship so they can kill it.
Yeah, and they realize that
Was it
Eros.
the first time they saw the video?
Yeah, they realize that Eros is beaming data to a hidden protogen base. And then Miller reaches out to Havelock or Havelock, as you prefer.
I don't have a preference. I just that's how I'm reading it. I don't know what the actual name is.
I think it's Havelock, but I guess we can find out when we watch the show.
E feels misplaced.
Right there in the middle.
Yeah, doing nothing. Must be French.
All right. So yeah, Havelock says there's a secret base called Toth, and gives Miller the coordinates. Which I don't know. Do you think Holden will pay for that later, or do you think he'll get caught? It's like what, 300 years in the future? How could they not track that?
What?
Miller gave Holden the coordinates to the Toth station.
Yeah, and they went.
Yeah, I'm just saying, Miller or Havelock works for Protogen, so you don't think that he's going to get in trouble for this at all in the future?
But you said, is Holden going to get in trouble for that? And I'm like,
yeah, I probably said the wrong
why
thing.
Why is he going to get in trouble? What? What the fuck does he care?
Holden,
a whole lot of other shit.
He's already fucked. But I mean, like, no. You think that's going to come back and bite Havelock in the ass? Do you think we're even going to see Havelock again? What do you think?
Oh, especially not with Winkler.
No. Yeah, well, maybe.
Even hypothetically, Miller survives, which feels like a strong thing. The way they played him out there, they built his character up and made sure that you understand that Julie survived. So Miller has to probably survive and just be hive-minded. But I don't think that's still. I think most of his contacts go away. Except for maybe everyone on the Rossi and what's his face?
I can't remember.
The guy
Fred Johnson.
How I forget the name Fred. It's right up there with Bob, but I couldn't think of it.
Freddie Bob. Yeah, no, I mean, I honestly think we'll see Havelock again. Why they spent a lot of time introducing him, and
not really.
Although I don't know if he's like yin and yang with Miller, whereas like if Miller's
did everything he needed to do by being a foil, and that you could understand where Belters and Earthers were very different on mindsets, because Belters they don't have homeworlds, they don't have luxury around them, really, like very different mindset, and they use that to juxtapose against his Earther mindset. And I mean, they go back to it over and over again with Amos and Holden too. You guys will never understand Belters. Like, we don't waste anything. And they even do it in the Butcher story. When they're talking.
Yeah.
We don't waste anything. So they use that early in the book. They establish that hard. They let him be there for Miller to get that password that one time he needs it, and he's out of the story. He's gone. And he's mostly out of the story at that point, too. He's just, I got this pal I used to know. Let me just call him real quick. It's gonna really put me in a bind here if they find out that you found out from me. So.
Yeah, and like I said, it seems like they're
I don't
working.
think he's back. He's done. His character served his purpose.
Yeah, and they're working.
They don't really have a way to bring him back either. He's just going to be a standalone. He's got no partners. He's just going to be a POV himself.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't know. I mean, they're working to make it sound like. To be honest, I think it's going to be Holden is the main character through the series, whether you like him or not. It seems like that's going to be the case.
I don't remember what I said my original review on Holden is. I don't remember.
Well, I mean, I
his
originally.
mentality on telling everybody that it was stupid. But,
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess, I mean, did Holden ever even meet Havelock?
no!
Yeah, so I don't
Only
even.
Miller!
Yeah, so, and I don't even think.
Fred didn't either. Nobody but Miller. Even if you went back to Dawes, right?
Yeah.
When Miller meets up with Dawes, he doesn't have him with him.
Yeah, so I guess he is pretty isolated, so.
He doesn't exist outside those interactions with Miller.
Yeah, so they would have. They'd have to put quite a bit of work in then to get.
It'd be like bringing some of the other series cops back into it, like his sidekick that replaced Havelock. Why? What are you getting here?
I don't know. Well, so
the only thing Havelock has better is that he's working for Protogen, so maybe they just give you like an inside Protogen POV. But I mean, that seems like a stretch.
yeah, probably.
What's he gonna know? He's just a
Grunt.
goon. We
Yeah.
saw how much they care about the goons with what they do to Eros. So
Exactly. Yeah, so Holden approaches Miller and asks him to join the crew, and I thought this was kind of strange. Well, he fucks this up later, but for now, Miller is extremely happy to belong somewhere again, finally.
yeah, he was, wasn't he?
He cried,
I
didn't
don't
he?
know about again. He didn't cry.
Well, again, because he was part of...
his internal monologue teared up. He did.
It's part of you. He cried. That's what I pictured in my brain head.
I cry every day then.
Okay.
But I don't.
I'm going to have to ask you to
Every time
elaborate on what you're
every
talking
time
about
a
here.
new email comes through asking me to do something,
Uh,
I cry. Because I know people are stupid.
yeah, I understand. And usually comes with them not having priorly read your email that you sent before.
In my directions, they're bolded and highlighted. But you missed them sometimes.
Like, yeah, so Miller weeps.
Intern. He didn't
Fine.
actually weep. No tears left eyes.
All right, fine. All right, I'll let you have it. But yeah, so then they begin.
They do cry at some point, though. Somebody cries.
I mean, wouldn't you?
Miller cries. Miller does cry later. Actually cries.
What, on Eros, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Julie starts talking to him and he's rocking her back to Wake. Wake up, come back to me. Come back to you? She never met you. What do you mean, come back to you?
I don't know. There's no logic to that creepy relationship, but I was kind of curious.
He is really creepy. For being my favorite character, he's so fucking. Like, what the hell?
Well, there's never going to be a character that you. There's always going to be something that they do that pisses you off. So.
I'm okay with Naomi. I was okay with Amos until fucking that shit.
Well, hopefully that didn't ruin it
enough, yeah.
for you. But all right, so they launch an attack on Toth Station. There was, I think, a couple stealth ships docked there.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it was. Uh, yeah. And then I guess Fred Miller and volunteers, they storm the station. They only have slight resistance, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they only had didn't have the old riot gear that was stolen.
Yeah, most everyone's scientists.
Yeah, plastic.
And most of the scientists don't even pay attention to the fighting on this ship.
Yeah, and
Fuck with McGee.
yeah, Dresden.
I refuse to use that name for that sort of character. Dresden only means good things around here. Stop it.
Yeah, so yeah, they talked to him. He basically, without any remorse at all, he basically tells them they're his entire plan.
The whole time.
Yeah,
He got a gun to his face, and he's still better than you. Okay.
Well, he was convinced that they weren't going to do anything, that they didn't have the cojones. At least that's the impression I got from him is that he didn't.
Because he's high value. He's more important. Why would you ever do anything for him?
Yeah. Yeah. So they.
All the more reason to love Miller.
Did he? Was I imagining this, or did he mention something about them turning the scientists, the researchers, into like psychopaths? Didn't they take out a piece of their brain to remove empathy? Something along those lines, or chemically alter it in some fashion? Remember them mentioning that. It was glossed over, but I think they said something about that.
They were talking about the scientists that were there. That's why none of them interrupted. So maybe, but I'm not sure on that. That feels right. But I watched too many corny, future-y, mindfuckery things to really know whether I'm attributing that to something else or you're right there. So
Mindfuckery things. Is that a subgenre of something?
yeah, I mean same thing. I think like Black Mirror.
Yeah.
Mindfuckery.
So, but yeah, he basically flat out admits, which I was surprised. I thought they would keep it a secret, but he flat out
doesn't give a shit. He thinks he's better and more valuable than everybody else.
Yeah. So he basically, Eros was a test, and they're actually trying to find a way to weaponize this back at whatever aliens designed it.
Yeah. Except that, as far as I can tell, they don't even know where it fucking came from. So how are you going to use it as a weapon against something that is unidentified? Let me throw something unidentified at something else. It's like a big old fucking algebra problem that you can't solve because there are too many variables and not enough real numbers.
Plus, I'm assuming at this point they have not met the alien species yet, to even know what they're up against, is what
that's what it feels like. Because again, so far, that was part of what was going to be so great about the life ship. It was the first time humans were actually leaving the solar system.
Yeah.
And then they done fucked all that up.
Yeah, we'll get to that part
very shortly.
But yeah, so anyway, keeps talking about his sinister plan, and Miller just shoots him in the I think it seemed like, I don't know, Miller was looking at them and they seemed like they were convinced. I don't know what his explanation was. He just
status quo is that okay, you're going to take him prisoner. Maybe they try and put him through the court system. But Protogen has so much money and so many ties, and he's so important to Protogen. There's no way Protogen just doesn't buy him his freedom so he can keep doing what he's already doing.
Well, I don't even think it was just that. It was just, I think
No,
Miller was concerned that he was convincing Fred and
Yeah,
Holden
no.
of the.
You're right. So that's where his mindset is, right? And so he's having that conversation, and he's just talking as if that is the way it is, and they're slowly buying into the concept of doesn't matter what we did here, he's just going to get free. He's just going to be free, and they accept that as the inevitable reality. And
Yeah.
they did not.
I mean, is a commentary on current corporate fat cats.
I don't know what you mean. It's not even corporate. It's just current
Yeah.
fat cats. But again, what do you mean? We don't live in a world where you can buy Senate votes with gold bars at all. So what are we talking about?
You didn't even blink when you said that. That's impressive. So,
Because it's not the most ridiculous thing that has happened in the last few months.
yeah.
It should be, but isn't.
But yeah. So anyway, Miller shoots him right in the fucking head. Maybe somebody will.
No,
No, they won't.
he's got a bulletproof coming.
What, like Magneto? Or Juggernaut?
Neither one of those were gold, but yes.
Semantics.
Magneto's helmet was bulletproof, was it?
No, that's why I said I'm pretty sure Juggernaut's was, but
Well,
Magneto's was to protect his brain from telepaths. They were pretty much the only people that could stop him.
they still
Yeah. Yeah, Miller shoots him in the fucking face. And guess what? Holden hates him again. It's like flip-flopping it constantly. So, and I think this isn't the last time Holden switches his opinion to him, but we'll get...
It's the last time.
Doesn't he at some point feel remorseful that he was too hard on him?
Yeah, for half a second, and then Fred says, "You're forgetting how he was," and he goes, "Oh yeah, no, he was an asshole, but he was honorable."
Yeah. That technically counts as a micro flip-flop.
You're right, but he was an asshole.
It was a
Yeah. That's like the last 5 sentences of the book.
Yeah. So I guess
We're talking about the same person here. Are you thinking the same? Oh yeah, no, he was an asshole.
Yeah. So isn't Miller black? Yeah, I think he's blacklisted from pretty much any employer. So he basically just begs Fred for a job.
Yeah. I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised.
They didn't really get into too much detail of his other job prospects that he tried. But
yeah, I get the idea that short of doing something like what Havelock had done, where he signed up to be a cop for another corporation, where he signed a contract somewhere else, he doesn't really have much else.
yeah.
Because
wasn't too hard to convince Fred, was it?
Didn't he say, I'll give you a job or something like that at one point?
That I did not commit to memory. But probably.
Within the OPA, though, we don't trust him.
Yeah. So, what's the thing? I guess the first thing they discuss is, I guess Miller thinks that they should destroy Eros because people are going to swoop in, like people aside from Protogen, and then they'll have more corporations messing with it. So, and he seemed to convince him to sacrifice that generation ship pretty damn easily.
Yeah, what's the alternative?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Fred should have been a little bit more reluctant since that's what he's been working on for how many years?
Yes and no, right? Being reluctant would be counter to the character that's established in the short story, though.
Yeah, but this was before I read that, so that's why I was questioning.
Well, yeah, sure, but I mean, so your establishment there for Fred is just that he's the face of one piece of the OPA, and he killed a bunch of people. So
yeah.
What? So you think that it's counter to that character?
No, I feel like, I mean, they established a whole base, and obviously the construction of this generational ship was important to him.
Not to him, no. That's just funding.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Look, it ain't the OPA building the ship. I mean, I'm sure it's some of their workers, but all the money's coming from the Mormons. You don't give a shit about them at all. You know, but, you got all the money.
Yeah. Alright, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
It didn't, I mean,
Didn't feel right.
Maybe you're right. It didn't feel out of character for me. Okay.
I don't know. I thought he was more sympathetic towards it.
Way more pragmatic than me.
Yeah. So they go to attack. Well, first, no, there is no first. He just immediately sends 5 ships to, what is it, fusion bombs?
Yeah, sure.
To blow up the docking ports.
If need be.
Rocinante. I don't know. How do you pronounce that in your head? Because I keep saying Rocinante.
In the audio book they say Rocinante.
Rocinante?
Yes.
That sounds more sophisticated than what I was thinking. I guess I better learn it because this probably is their ship forever.
They call it the Rossi most of the time.
Yeah. So they, I think they're stopping.
It doesn't make them right.
And then I guess immediately proving Miller right, there was a UNN vessel heading straight towards Eros.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much in the story for the rest of that too.
That was another science vessel though, so it wasn't even something military. It was just someone trying to stick a claim.
Yeah, but they were equipped with weapons. So, and that's when basically I started to get that feeling that Miller was going to sacrifice himself when he keeps going over. When he keeps talking, I can't remember that guy's name. The guy,
The kid?
yeah, the kid that
Yeah, I know.
I have to read what he says like several times
Yeah.
to figure out what the hell he just said.
That he shears a bunk with?
Doesn't he call him like old man or something, but in like Creole speak?
Sure.
I can't remember what he was calling him. It's like grandpa.
Yeah, but I don't remember the actual words that he was using. Like, if they didn't have some kind of interpretation from Miller's end, I would have no fucking clue what's going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it sounded like...
Quite literally speaking several foreign languages crammed into one. It's not even one foreign language. It's a few smashed together.
So basically Miller talks to that kid and decides that he's going to stay on the station and die when the bombs go off.
Yeah.
So, not as noble as Holden eventually comes to feel that he is, because he's basically, him becoming the hero at the end.
Sacrifice.
is
That's what he's going to do. Is he's going to get back and like, well, now I have no more use for you at all. So here you go. Have the guy that sold everyone out. He's been promised that. I promise you, I'm going to give you to the Earth Mars Syndicate when all this is done.
yeah. I mean, Miller doesn't really focus on that. Well, his inner monologue doesn't really mention that.
Yeah, it does. 100%. What else do I have to look forward to?
Yeah, I guess you're right. It was pretty quick, so. But yeah, no, like I said, not as noble. Started off this way. Him being, the hero that saves everything at the end was sort of coincidental.
Yeah.
He was basically doing that. So they launched that generation ship, which I think is called
Who cares? It's one.
Nauvoo.
Yeah, something like that.
And then suddenly Eros becomes a ship.
Yeah.
Is essentially how I read that. So basically, did your phone just yelp?
I have alarm set. That's my alarm set.
So anyway, so Eros has the ability to block radar, and LADAR too, right?
Which they don't really explain.
Yeah, I don't think they ever get into it. Nor do they get into how it's breaking the laws of physics either, because, in order for them to keep up with it, they were basically melting their faces with, the high G, whereas Miller's on there saying that nothing feels any different.
Yeah.
Was that? I don't think that was even touched on either, was it?
They touched on a bunch of physics very loosely there, but I am not an astrophysicist, so
I didn't see anything personally. I mean, I'm not an astrophysicist
they
either, but
when they were trying to decide how it was accelerating to the degree that it was without giving off significantly more heat, and whatever it was doing it was more efficient than the human version of physics, as we have an understanding of it currently.
maybe they'll get more into that.
Yeah, no.
We only got one book down,
that's
so
their magic. And suddenly they're reading fantasy.
yeah.
Space fantasy.
Space ass what?
Space fantasy? Physics magic?
Science fantasy.
What?
No, what were you talking about?
No, it's two other book series that kind of do that same thing. But I don't think it's ready yet.
I'll get there eventually.
Really? I know one is on your list. I don't think the other is.
What's that? Which books are they?
Dresden does a lot of physics and magic mixed. Anne McCaffrey does the space sci-fi fantasy.
But anyway, all right. So moving super fast. I guess Holden reaches out to Miller just for the detonation codes, not realizing that he's still on the damn ship. Not ship. Still on the... Well, it is a ship now. But still on the asteroid. But turns out to be in their favor. That's the Deus Machina of the story. Is that Miller just happens to be there? Can you say that, or is this just coincidence?
I mean, there's a lot of luck going on for all of
If Miller didn't decide to stay on there, this wouldn't have... Nothing would have been saved. So
no, so you can't say that though, right? Because remember, Holden gives all the codes for Earth's entire nuclear arsenal over to Fred, and he steers all of those missiles away. So sure, if Miller wasn't there, But I like to think that if Miller wasn't there, then they would have just nuked the ever-living fuck out of Eros with all of those nukes. And then we would be reading about a future story where space debris crashed into one of the planets.
Yeah. Alright.
Miller just makes the ending we got possible, but he doesn't necessarily make an ending not possible.
And they were, since it was blocking radar and later, what were they targeting? The dock ships, right?
Yeah, the 5 ships.
Yeah,
that
so
held up
how did they stop it again? Would Miller turn them off or Holden? I guess Holden couldn't have. Miller had to have done it. Who turned? Oh, wait. I'm just trying. How did they stop it so that they couldn't find it?
What?
The nukes were targeting those docked ships, but I guess
whoa. Yeah, no, they
turned the transponders off.
Sort of. They cloned them, and then
Oh yeah, that's right. They
put
cloned
them
them.
on dummy vessels all the way out, like it was moving in a different direction.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Did not commit that part to memory apparently. Yeah, so Miller hauls. He brings in one of the bombs, and then a long drawn out sequence of him getting it in there. That they told in excruciating detail.
If they fucking talk about the squeaky wheel on a cart one more fucking second, Jesus Christ, no one cares.
So you noticed that too, the excruciating detail.
I don't care.
You wanted him to just die already.
I thought the fact that they placed emphasis on that, right? that certainly was going to be like, okay, something's going to grow out of whatever's on that wheel, and it's going to take over the cart and it's going to stop it. But no, they were just Herman Melvin us the whole fucking time.
I did not have that thought. I did have the Herman Melvining, but yeah. So, I think Miller's listening to the voices at some point, and that's how he figures out that one of them is Julie.
Yeah, well, when he's expecting to die, he's just laying there staring
So,
at the ceiling.
so they had her original. So this is her body.
Yeah.
They brought it to Eros, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So she
brought herself to Eros.
How did she do that? I'm blanking on this part.
When they go find that ship that they stole the safe out of, right, where we ended the last one, that was the ship that all the people were on when they abducted her in the very first chapter. So when she's there, she finds like everyone fused together, right? And then they cut away, and that's the end of the very first chapter. It was that ship that they found. She sailed it to where it was at. That's how they got the coordinates for it. And then she went to Eros on her own. They found her upstairs in the apartment in the shower after she sent Fred a panic message. Remember? Because that's why he sent
Yeah, you're right. Okay, now it makes sense. I guess it just was such a long time between reading the sections that I did.
So, like, they fully intended to send everyone to Eros anyway, and we learned that afterward. But she went to Eros herself because it was the closest place. She didn't have fuel to really get anywhere else.
Yeah. And I guess she was in a dream state where she was racing.
Yeah. That's what it seems like.
Razorback. That's when Miller asks for time, and then they divert the nukes. Miller finds Julie. I'm trying to think. Isn't so she's looks similar. Isn't there like floating blue lights and stuff?
They so So once they got off of Eros, when they fought their way out of the casino and everything, when they got irradiated and they went back to Fred before being sent to Eros again,
Yeah.
They took her body from the apartment that she was in a shower, and they stashed her in like an emergency response room that's supposed to be locked down unless all shit hit the fan. And that's where they put her body and started growing everything out of her. So when they started irradiating everybody in the casino as they were getting their way out, they had her body. And they had locked her into a place that they had prepared because Protogen basically owned the station. So they were preparing for her anyway because they were preparing for her arrival. They weren't expecting the ship to not make it. So when they actually got her body, they put it into the area that she had been prepared in. Then it was just like a secret fallback emergency response room kind of area. So the lights were all mentally. I was picturing like you know how you see emergency lights and they're dimmer or really bright LEDs, but they're spaced out, so it's just like minimal light.
Yeah.
Still effective. That's what I was picturing with the lights.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing too. I was picturing like blue fireflies. It'd be interesting to see how the show
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
shows
not,
it.
I know I ranted about the show a little bit, but I'm trying not to rant about the things.
I think the first 2 seasons are the first book, so we could actually probably hit the first 2 seasons if you want.
Having started the show without knowing that, or without remembering that you had said that we were going to save it, and agreed to that, and then starting it anyway because I completely forgot, I'm going to say to you that if that is the case, they still make changes, and there are things and people and shit happening I've not fucking seen in the books yet.
Okay, so we should probably still hold off, is what you're saying.
There were characters that I was like, who the fuck is this? And apparently will be a character in the book series. Main character in the fucking show. No idea where they came from. They're in the very end of the book. Shadid.
Shadid was in the beginning. It's Miller's captain, isn't it? She was in the beginning.
Oh, that's not who I'm thinking of then. No. Then the character is not in the first book at all. But is a primary character in like the first 3 episodes.
Well then, yeah, I guess we'll avoid the show until we've gotten through the first 6 books.
Because I have no fucking clue where they come in.
Because the show ended after. The show doesn't touch books 7, 8, and 9.
I will say this: there's an Earth character who's still on Earth in the show. What happened on Earth in the books? So, at least so far.
Well,
just the Baltimore stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, yeah.
And that was obviously way before Amos and Amos.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Well, we'll see. So he wakes her up out of her dream state.
Yep. She's a piece of shit.
And he manages to get her to crash into Venus, right?
Yep. I don't even know if it crashed. They don't actually give you whether or not it crashed or whether or not it slowed its momentum. Like, as I understand it, and maybe I'm wrong here, Venus actually is still Earth-like in that we still expect there to be solid surface under all that shit, right?
Well, we don't expect. We know because we landed probes
sure.
there.
Oh,
So.
it did land? Mm-hmm. I thought it broke up because the atmosphere was so caustic.
Yeah, I mean, it is crushing pressure, but they built something with that in mind. I think Russia did one. We did one. Actually, it might have been just Russia. But it managed to...
Are we sure it did?
It managed to last... Well, this was back when... This was pre-Putin Russia. But it was...
all their current equipment.
Yeah. But it was yeah, no, the probe that they had landed on Venus and functioned, I think they said, for about 25 minutes
Oh shit. Okay.
before it just melted.
So then it's definitely is.
There's pictures of Venus online. You can look at them.
I assume those were mostly telescopic.
No, those are from the surface. After we're done the recording, I can show you.
That's fine. So then I would imagine something the size of Eros might not be like a dinosaur killing meteor, but
Eros is pretty big.
As big as I guess at that point it would be a meteorite. Though it is not Earth, so it's still a meteorite.
I'm pretty sure Eros is at least 10 kilometers, isn't it?
Maybe. I don't know off the top of my head. I would assume it's a Eros 20.5 by 8 by 8. So 33 by 13 by 13 kilometers. 16.8 in diameter.
Yeah.
The size of Philly. How convenient that it says Philly.
So that would cause devastating, well, not devastating because Venus is already fucked, but it would cause like complete restructure to the surface.
The dinosaurs was only 10, so it's almost double the size. So
yeah.
Did it actually crash or did it just land?
Well, apparently, I mean,
don't know. I don't think the story ever actually. You just know that they steer it in and then they cut away to the other characters.
well, do you know how much radiation and energy would generate from that? I think the protomolecule would love that, right?
Maybe.
Well, like I said, so the book basically ends with
They fudged that.
yeah, the book basically ends with like there's an epilogue where there's a 2-kilometer crystal towers growing on Venus.
Yep. I don't know how size. I don't remember the size of them. Multiple towers. Yes.
What do you think they look like? Just crystal, or do you think they actually have like amethyst? Is what I'm picturing.
Really? Why amethyst?
I don't know. Don't have an explanation.
I'm just gonna go with the Superman spaceship from the Christopher Reeve movies.
Okay.
Which only gave us interior and never gave us exterior, but
So heavily implying that that didn't kill the protomolecule.
oh yeah, absolutely not. Not heavily implying. It certainly didn't. What else would cause that? The protomolecule crashes in and dies, and secretly you find out that inside Venus this whole time was another.
Yeah, so I'm wondering where we go from there with that. But yep,
Venus has been being quiet this whole time. The species has just been watching us, but we attacked it with an asteroid.
that would make me stop reading the series.
Now they're out for blood.
Son of a bitch. Nah, I'm not. That would lose me if they did that. But all right, well, yeah, that's the end of the book. Thoughts on Leviathan Wakes as a whole?
It was
solid.
Solid. I don't think Miller's dead. I hope Miller's not dead. Part of that might be because he was my favorite character through the book. So, my second favorite character is definitely not dead. And Amos.
Who's your second favorite?
Amos.
Yeah. Still?
Yeah. Who'd you expect to take over? The guy moved Fred up. And I hate the Amos short story. But Amos still through the first book was definitely my second favorite character.
Yeah. So, yeah, I give it a solid 9 out of 10 for me. there's some things that weren't perfect, but overall, really good story. I'm intrigued to continue reading.
7-8.
What's that?
I'll give it like a 7-8. Can we have a decimal system?
Sure, just for you, Jane.
7.5.
All right.
You want a fractional system?
Yeah, you just said decimal and then you said 7.5. So
Which would be fractional, not decimal.
you requested decimal.
Yes, but you said it in a way that made you sound like you weren't convinced on the decimal system. So not only did it lose points because I didn't go 7 3/4.
I mean, it's not up to me to be convinced by the decimal system. It exists whether I like it or not. But yeah, as hinted among our various subtle mentions, next we'll be doing 3 short stories. We'll be discussing. We'll have a cast on each one. These occur simultaneously with Leviathan Wakes. Well, actually, no, two of them.
Prior.
Well,
Definitely prior.
Yeah.
Butcher is prior.
Yeah, they're all prior. You're correct. They occur prior to the Leviathan Wakes. Well, yeah, Drive is definitely prior. Drive, we read Drive, Churn, and Butcher of Anderson Station.
I don't even remember what happens in Drive now.
So yeah, so we'll be moving on to Caliban's War, Book 2. But before that, we'll be discussing the short stories that take place before Leviathan Wakes. All right. And we're out.
Really just salute the laptop?
Yeah, I don't know.
Man, everyone listening really heard that salute with authority.
Yes. All right. All right. And we're out.